interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
New health rules, great health, mastering your mean girl, by far my favorite topic, how not to die, and why we get fat. On Amazon, there are over 50,000 books that tell us what their definition is of health. So what are other people saying? Robert Urich says a healthy outside starts from the inside. Love yourself enough to live a healthy lifestyle. It is health that is real wealth and not pieces of gold and silver, Mahatma Gandhi. Those who think they have no time for healthy eating will sooner or later have to find time for illness. Your body will be around a lot longer than that expensive handbag. Invest in yourself. The food you eat can be either the safest and most powerful form of medicine or the slowest form of poison. If it came from a plant, eat it. If it was made in a plant, don't. Thank you, Michael. Sufficient sleep, exercise, healthy food, friendship, and peace of mind are necessities, not luxuries. Think positively and exercise daily. Eat healthy, work hard, stay strong, build faith, worry less, read more, and be happy. Why is it that the best quotes come from anonymous? So health is the greatest gift, is what Buddha says. So if health is the greatest gift, why have we not narrowed in on what health is, right? So I'm going to suggest, we at Life Project are going to suggest that health can be broken down into three aspects. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover three basic topics within each of that aspect. I'm going to list characteristics of each aspect, and I want you to mentally, or we have note cards in front of us, I want us to write down, maybe take marks of what characteristic reminds us of who we are, if either it's healthy or unhealthy, and we'll take a total down at the end. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect, but just keep an idea. So the first aspect that I'm going to suggest is that physical. So physical health can be defined as the condition of your body taking into consideration everything from the absence of disease to fitness level. Main factors include lifestyle, human biology, environment, and healthcare service. So why is being physically healthy important? Well, physical health, activity, or exercise improves your overall health and reduces the risk of developing several diseases like type 2 diabetes, cancer, and cardiovascular disease. So, how do we stay physically healthy? Anyone want to share how they stay physically healthy? What kind of exercise? Okay. Yeah. Huh? Rebounding. In basketball or? Oh, okay. Thank you. Swimming, yep.
Eating a big breakfast.
Yes, big breakfast, because physical health is also diet. Thank you, Seth. Boxing, all right, whoa. Relaxing, yep. How about my rock climbers? Where are we at? Hey. So, doing any physical activity is better than doing none. If you currently do no physical activity, start by doing some. Seth mentioned 1% last week, and I think that's great. If we're not doing anything physically active, we should start doing just a little bit before we move on to what is the recommended amount. So the recommended amount is to aim for at least 30 minutes a day, accumulate 150 to 300 minutes of moderate intensity, or 75 to 150 minutes of vigorous physical activity each week. A few of my friends and I, we have Garmin's, and the Garmin tells us these exact numbers. It's an easy way to keep track of how we can be physically healthy. It's also important to do muscle strengthening activities on at least 2 days of the week. So, what does it look like? And this is what I want you to really pay attention to, and think about yourself when I do these lists. Shortness of breath during activity, weak muscles or aching muscles after minimal activity, chronic fatigue and low vitality, mood swings, insomnia or poor sleeping habits, chronic health problems. Physically healthy people maintain normal weight, good posture, healthy skin, eyes and hair, good grip and flexibility, low resting heart rate, blood pressure within normal range. These last few are all going to be through your doctor. Blood glucose is within normal range, high level of HDL cholesterol, respiration is normal, and you possess balanced muscle strength. So if any of those ring to you, just make notes down as well. So, got a pretty good idea of what physical health would look like. How about the second one? Mental health. Mental health is a little bit more difficult to define, but we can define it as a person's condition with regard to their psychological and emotional well-being. Why is being mentally healthy important? Well, it influences the way individuals look at themselves, their lives, and others in their lives. Like physical health, mental health is important at every stage of life. So some of our main factors are going to be biological, such as genes or brain chemistry, life experiences, such as trauma or abuse, and family history of mental health problems. So, how can we be mentally healthy? Who wants to share about how they stay mentally healthy in their life? Staying positive, yeah. Mm-hmm. Sleep, yep. Devotional life, yep. Yep. Yeah, limited social media time, absolutely. Yeah. Especially for the younger generations. Yeah. So, here's the list that I have. You want to talk about your feelings, keep active, eat well, don't drink alcohol, have community, and ask for help. Also, it's important to take breaks. Do something you're good at and accept who you are and care for others. So, what does being mentally healthy, and the first list is mentally unhealthy, look like? Eating or sleeping too much or too little, pulling away from people and usual activities, having low or no energy, feeling numb or like nothing matters, having unexplained aches and pains, feeling helpless or hopeless, smoking, drinking, or using drugs in general or more than usual, feeling unusually confused, forgetful, on edge, angry, upset, worried, or scared, yelling or fighting with family and friends, experiencing severe mood swings that cause problems in relationships, having persistent thoughts and memories you can't get out of your head, hearing voices or believing things that are not true, thinking of harming yourself or others, and the inability to perform daily tasks like taking care of your kids or getting to work or school. So mentally healthy people realize their full potential. They cope with the stresses of life. They work productively, make meaningful contributions to their communities. They're getting professional help if you need it, connecting with others, staying positive, getting physically active, helping others, getting enough sleep, and developing positive coping skills. I read a book that said that mentally healthy people find positive ways of dealing with the realities of life, and that's what we do when we hit realities of life, is we cope with them either positively or negatively. And when we have positive habits that help us cope with life, we're so much more mentally healthy. So, anyone like to guess what the third aspect is? Spiritual. Good job. So, we can define spiritual health in this way. Spiritual health is defined as the connection with God, oneself, others, and nature. So why is being spiritually healthy important? And I'm actually going to take something from Advent Health because I think they do an amazing job of bringing this to life. Spiritual health helps us go from chaos to clarity, and ultimately from clarity to purpose. So spiritually healthy people once were in chaos and now have a clear, purposeful life. I know I can speak to this. I can remember times in my life when I had chaos. And even though there is chaos a little in my life, I have a purpose and I have a direction and I'm pointing towards something that I firmly believe in. So, how can we be spiritually healthy? Anybody? Spend time in the Word. Prayer. Yep. Fellowship together. Yeah. Anybody else? Huh? Practice surrender. From the pastor, I like it. Oh, yeah. Go to meetings like this. Amen. So, my list is not exhaustive, but here are some basics. Reading and reflection, prayer, meditation, which sometimes gets taken the wrong way. Meditation in the Bible is filling our minds with the Word rather than releasing and emptying our minds of everything else. And ultimately, keeping a journal. You know, keeping a journal will help you remember things 66% better than if you didn't. I have a pastor friend in Florida, who's actually right now, for his devotions, he's writing the New Testament by hand. Isn't that amazing? Because he firmly believes that when he writes something down, it's locked away in his head. And what better way to remember the Bible than to write it down? So the main factors, but I'm going to say factor, is connection. Connection to God, connection to others, connection to oneself, and connection to nature. So, what does it look like? Spiritually unhealthy people may use God to run from God. It sounds like a contradiction, but it happens all the time. Ignoring anger, sadness, and fear, denying the impact of the past on the present, doing for God instead of being with God, spiritualizing away conflict, covering over brokenness, weakness, and failure, and judging other people's spiritual journeys. Spiritually healthy people, I took all this just from Psalm 116. We believe in him, we cry out to him, we follow him, we obey him, we serve him, we thank him, and ultimately, we live for him. So, this is my hometown. This is Jackson Hole, Wyoming. I was born in Fort Collins, Colorado, but I spent a lot of my time in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And I want to tell you a story about a time when I went on a hike in Jackson Hole. If you can see right here, I can point it on the big screen. There's a little hump on the far right side, okay? There's a little ridge right here. And so my friend and I wanted to go on a hike, and we heard about this amazing hike called Hidden Falls. And the only directions that we were given is that there's going to be a cairn. Anyone know what a cairn is here? The mountain people. This is kind of what a cairn looks like. I wish that my cairn looked like this because I would have seen it and I would have known where to go. So the only directions I was given is that there was a cairn that looks like this, and I'm supposed to go somewhere and find these hidden falls. And I've heard it is one of the most beautiful things you'll ever see. So I'm walking along. I believe I see a cairn, and I was told to take a left, so I go take a left. I walk down, and it is, I'm talking brush. Like, I am digging my way through trees. There's no way this is right, but I can see the path. I see it. It's right here, right? Digging my way through, and all of a sudden it opens up, and we're in a valley, and it's a beautiful valley. It's not it, because there's no falls anywhere, but we're walking through, and all of a sudden, there's these huckleberry bushes. And if anyone's had a huckleberry, mercy, they are amazing. And there's a place in Driggs, Idaho, if you ever go, that makes huckleberry smoothies. You have to go. And if you drive out of your way, it's okay. It's totally worth it. So I'm eating all these huckleberries. My friend and I are having a great time. And we start walking. And then all of a sudden, in the middle of the road is a massive pile of bear poop. I'm talking this big. And it was the freshest I've ever seen in my life. And I'm looking forward, and the brush that I just went through is now appearing again in the road. So I'm terrified, right? But we, soldier on. You just talk louder, and the bears will hear you, and they get scared, right? That's what you're told, at least. So we're walking, everything's great. And in about 150 yards, another massive pile of bear poop. It was the summer. It was so fresh, it was still steaming. At this point, I'm like, okay, where is this bear? And maybe it's multiple bears, but this one, and it's right in the trail, right? So we decide, we look up here, because we're trying to figure out how we're going to get out of this huge river on our left, and we see there's a trail on the mountain. Right up here. I'm down here. So we're around this bend. It's way up at the top. And I can see it going. I'm like, oh, okay, Hidden Falls. It's way up in the top. I should probably go, right? So we're going, and I'm telling you guys, the elevation was about this, and then when I got to the top, it was here. I'm climbing. I'm sweating. I want to take a break. There's no way this is right. So I stop. I turn around. No, not bear poop. Over here, I can see the Hidden Falls. They are no longer hidden. I can see them, but they're about 2 miles away in the other direction. So we have an elevated view of things. We can see what's going on. Okay, I see the trail. It was just through the brush. If I just would have, obviously we were terrified, but if we just would have pushed through, everything would have been fine. So we go down, we go up, see the Hidden Falls. It's amazing. It was before smartphones existed, so I don't have a picture, sorry. But on our way down, we're walking through the trail, and all of a sudden, a mama moose and her baby are in the middle of the trail, okay? Now, I don't know if you grew up in the mountains like I did, but that is the worst possible thing ever. Bears I'm okay with bears, but a mama moose with her cub, no thank you. So we have locked eyes with this mama moose. We have decided, okay, we're going to just sit up on this boulder. So we sit up on a boulder. 5 minutes go by, and all of a sudden, thrashing behind us is this huge bull moose. And I wish I could, literally, Seth is right here in this table. This is how close I was to that bull moose coming, wasn't running, but just thrashing everything in the trees, right? So my friend and I say, hey, remember that trail that was way up here? Let's go there again. It's the only place that's actually safe. So we go all the way back up again. Then we start coming back down to the place with the bear poop. 4 bears all around us, and we're stuck. But we soldiered on. That's the end of the story. But it brings up an important point. We made it home safe. I went to work that night 2 hours late, but it's okay. So let's go back to our definition from earlier. 1948 World Health Organization. Health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. Now, definitions are meant to have completeness, right? It is a definition. That's what it is. But when it comes to health, I think health definitions focus too much on the destination or completeness. Because, as Blake was saying earlier, the direction, not our intention, determines the destination. We weren't given directions, but we knew where we wanted to go. We made it the right way. I found the cairn. Luckily, a lot of us get lucky in going in a particular direction. But once everything, all the brush happened and the bear poop, we freaked out and we were off the trail because we had no idea that this was the right way to go. So direction not only determines our destination, but in my opinion and in our opinion, it actually determines our destiny. So, piggybacking off Seth, sometimes the smallest step in the right direction ends up being the biggest step of your life. Tiptoe if you must, but take the step. Another quote from Anonymous. And ultimately, what we're hoping for is breakthrough. Breakthrough comes because you stay headed in the right direction for an extended period of time, or a sustained period of time. So, we've looked at World Health Organization definitions. We've taken a look at all the Amazon books and how they've defined health. We've taken into account everyone's definitions on what they believe health is. We've talked about the 3 aspects of health: physical, mental, and spiritual, and kind of given a breakdown. We've all noted to ourselves what we've done. So here's our definition. We at Life Project are going to find health as a state of positive progression towards physical, mental, and spiritual breakthrough, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity in any of these aspects. Physical, mental, and spiritual. We might be physically healthy only. We might be mentally healthy only. We might be spiritually healthy only. And there are going to be, every single person in this room is going to be off the map. anywhere on these maps. But our definition says that we're aiming for positive progress for this area. So here's what I'd like you to do. On your sheet of paper, you can put it in your discussion application. You can put it on the back if you've taken a lot of notes. But here's what I want you to write. I want you to write physical, mental, and spiritual. Yeah. And then what I want you to do is I want you to, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the least healthy and 10 being the most healthy, I would like you to rank yourself based off the characteristics that we went through earlier in the presentation. Now, God and the Holy Spirit work in incredible ways. And earlier this morning at 8 o'clock, after I wrote this, we have a friend, my wife and I do, named Brenda Wazinski. And she sends text messages every morning to a massive group of people. She's an amazing woman. If she's watching, we would say hi. I told her to watch. So what Brenda says is we think we will impress people with our strengths, but we connect with people through our vulnerabilities. When things are going well, I am tempted to be proud and self-reliant. When I am struggling and know my weakness, I become utterly dependent on the Lord. Christ's power rests on us, and she quotes 2 Corinthians 12:9, his power is made perfect in our weakness. And 2 Corinthians 12:9 says, but he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses so that Christ's power may rest on me. Now, the reason I'm telling this to you is because I think it's good that we are vulnerable with ourselves, and we're vulnerable a little bit with each other. We don't have to boast about how maybe out of health or whatever we are, but I think it's important for ourselves, if we're actually going to get better in health, to recognize maybe some weaknesses that we have, and it's just a growth area. That's all it is. Remember our definition, it's positive progress in the right direction towards breakthrough in any one of the aspects that maybe we need help with. So as a sign of vulnerability, here is my score. Funnily enough, last night, I was testing this out on my wife. Physical, I had 6 yesterday. And she's like, really, Billy? You don't even work out that much. So it's a 4. But here's what's really important. It might be a 4, but in January, those of the people who know me here, it probably would have been a 2. I've lost 25 pounds since January. Praise the Lord. But I have a long way to go. And we'll find out tomorrow night. I have a great presentation about why this is important too. Mentally, I feel okay. We're in school and we have this, and so there's a lot that and travel and everything that weighs you down. But spiritually, I feel good. And I want to just say this about spiritual health. There's going to be ups and downs in every single person's life. So sometimes you might be a 1. There may be other times where there was 10, or where you're a 10. Funnily enough, last night, on Thursday night, we were in class together, and our teachers said that even Jesus didn't feel the presence of God at one point in his life. So if you're not feeling his presence, that's okay. We have to remember that what we're looking for is positive progress in the right direction towards spiritual breakthrough, if that's what you're going through. So let's review. We kind of redefined health, or just defined it, narrowed it in the Way of Life project. We talked about 3 aspects of holistic health. We also learned that direction determines destination. We may have a destination in mind and an intention to reach some place, but we need to make sure that we're pointed in the right direction. And then the right direction ultimately aids in breakthrough. So I have some discussion questions here for our discussion. And we have about 20 minutes of time to discuss. If anyone has questions or anything, just come talk to me or Blake. So, thank you.
How's it going, everyone? Thanks for checking out the Life Project. We hope that you enjoyed the presentation tonight. If you're interested in asking a question about how you can implement some of the things that we've learned about, go ahead and drop us a message on Facebook, or you can also keep in touch with us by subscribing to our newsletter, and we can also email and have conversations that way right here on our website at the bottom of the screen. You can also watch more content, either on this video on my left shoulder or this one on my right shoulder. If you do subscribe to our channel, you'll be kept up to date when we do our next presentations. You can follow our schedule there on Facebook and our website as well. But we once again thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.